Recently, the next line for World of Tanks was announced, and it's safe to say no one was expecting a Polish medium tank line. In fact, I didn't even think Wargaming could make a Polish medium tank line for their tech tree. Today, I'll be telling you everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Polish medium tank line and everything that we know so far. Anyways, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy and want to see more content on this channel, whether it be World of Tanks, dinosaur games, funny moments and more, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So first up, coming in at tier 5, well, the branch starts at tier 5, I must say first. From the 14 TP, this is the DS PZ-INS 1. This tank looks very similar to the 14 TP in its looks, just looking a little bigger compared to its tier 4 light tank counterpart. There's not much to say about this tank at the moment, however I have been able to defer some information from Wargaming's video. Armor wise, I can see this tank being a little bit better than the 14 TP, and hull armor wise I can see it being better than the 25 TP in the Polish heavy tank line. Now looking at the armor layout that Wargaming briefly shown us, I can defer multiple things from it. And before I get into this, I just want to say I might have read this wrong, but let's see how it pans out. Frontal hull armor will be around 40mm with angles around 30 to 60 degrees in some parts of the hull. The rear armor looks to be around 20mm, and this is very similar to the 25 TP's hull armor, which makes it more believable. The turret armor, stock turret armor, looks to be around 40mm on the front and 20 on the side. However, the top turret looks a lot bigger, and it looks like its armor would be 60mm on the front and 40mm on the rear, which makes this tank more suited for hull down gameplay. Looking at some of the other stats that we can briefly see in the video, the tank will have a 75mm gun and have a top speed of anywhere between 55 to 47 kilometers per hour. Remember, this is looking at Wargaming's images provided. This might not actually come to the tank in game, but this might have just been the project's ideas. Coming in at tier 6 is probably the weirdest tank in this line, and this is the B.U.G.I, or the buggy is what I'm going to call it. This is definitely the weirdest tank on the line, with its smooth armor and huge round blob like turret. I can see this being a terrible medium tank and being very slow compared to any other medium tank in the line. This tank is going to be essentially the 25 TP for the Polish medium tank line. Now there's no information on this tank. I couldn't find any or defer any from the video, and I couldn't find any from outside sources, which is very interesting. However, the tank will probably be compared to the 25 TP, as that's what Wargaming said in their dev diaries video. Tier 7 is the CS44. The CS44 is a Polish medium tank that pretty much starts off the whole Polish medium tank line in its proper gameplay characteristics. Good guns with very good gun depression, and also very good turret armor compared to a rather poor hull armor. The tank's main gun is a 100mm gun, which will probably be comparable to different 100mm guns in the game. For example, 100mm guns tend to have good penetration but do around 250 HP of damage, with tanks like the T-34-100 and the Chinese T-34-1 doing 250 HP of damage and having 175mm of penetration. This is what this tank's top gun will definitely or probably be like. I guess the deviations for these stats will occur in this tank to make it a bit more unique compared to other tanks at its tier. Coming in at tier 8, there are two tanks, the CS53 and the CS52. We have two tanks for tier 8, and that's because one of them is planned to be the premium tank for the line. The CS52 is essentially the Russian T-44 tank, but Polish, which will probably mean the hull armor of these tanks are very similar to each other, so perhaps it will be like the T-44s and be 90mm on the front, 75 on the side and 45 on the rear, like the T-44's frontal hull armor. Or maybe it will have some slight deviations in its armor layout and be better, since it will probably be the premium tank. The other tank is the CS53. The tank is an inspired version of the T-54, but Polish, from what Wargaming have said. The tank's top gun is a 100mm gun, which will probably be comparable to other guns in its tier for medium tanks. For example, the Russian T-44, the Czech TVP VTU, and the Chinese T-34-2, all doing 250 HP of damage per shot, with penetration varying between 190 and 175mm of penetration. I would either expect the Polish tank to have higher penetration than 190 or be somewhere around 180 to keep it competitive. We don't know how good the penetration on these tanks will be yet. As for which tank will be a premium tank, well, it's quite clear to see. We have a mission marathon coming up next month, and there is one tank out of these two which is fully HD and looks to be ready to go. That's the tank which will probably be the premium tank. Now, there's nothing much about the tier 9. It's just got thicker armor, a bigger gun, and more gun depression. The tank will probably play like a hybrid between the T-54 with gun stats similar to the Polish heavy tanks. And if that's the case, I'll probably cry, because the Polish heavy tanks guns are really good. But yeah, the tier 9 is essentially the biggest mystery for this tech tree at the moment, because I couldn't find anything for this tank at all, even from Wargaming's videos. Right, we've got to the moment that you have all been waiting for, the crown jewel, or well, the tank that we actually have information on, the tier 10 CS63. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because every single World of Tanks YouTuber that is out there has made a video on the CS63, and you probably don't want to see me talk about it for too long. A tank that is apparently a fully Polish-made tank, non-Soviet inspired tank at all, which is what Wargaming say, with great gun depression of -8 degrees, good turret armor, and of course it is basically a race car on tracks because of its gas turbine engine. The tank essentially has two speed modes, standard and rapid. Rapid will make it faster than any medium tank out there. It will make its aim time and accuracy worse. All perks and consumables will become ineffective during rapid mode as well, which is another massive disadvantage, as well as your concealment basically going to 0. We have info about the tier 10 stats though, so let's see how well it can do. Damage is around 390 per shot, which is okay for a medium tank at tier 10. That's actually quite good, but some tier 8 premium tanks do that. Armor penetration is around 258, but if you really want to hammer it home and overcompensate for something, the premium ammunition is 315mm. Reload time is 8.5 seconds, which means it will effectively be doing 2,752 damage per minute. Rapid fire increases aiming time by 1.2 seconds, from 2.3 to 3.5. Mobility shoots up to 70 kilometers per hour, making it essentially a light tank, which I think will make it very strong, especially when ramming. This could be a tier 10 version of the Aufklärung Panther Panzer. Engine power also goes up to 1,150 horsepower from 740 horsepower, and specific power goes up to 28.2 horsepower per ton. Survivability, this tank has 2,000 HP. No surprise there, it's a very strong tank. However, its hull armor is terrible. 80mm on the front, 50 on the side, and 40mm on the rear. Compared that to the turret armor, which is a godly amount of 260mm on the front, 60 on the side, and 40 on the rear, making this an incredibly strong tank for hull down gameplay. Anyways guys, what do you think about the Polish medium tanks? I think they're going to be interesting, especially balancing wise with this tier 10 tank. It'll be a fun tank to play, but I feel like it needs some really big downsides apart from what it has at the moment, because if you look at it at the moment, it could be a little bit OP compared to some other tanks. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think about this update? This is probably my first time doing a update regarding to news about World of Tanks, or well, it's been a while if I have. I'm a little bit rusty about this, so please let me know what you think about the video, and what do you think about the Polish medium tank line? Did you expect it? I surely didn't. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed this video, I make information videos and funny moments videos on the channel. If you enjoy all of that, I think you should like and subscribe. It will help me out a ton, and I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.